So as for poses this morning, I'd love to offer you just a couple poses that are super grounding, meditative, that are easy to integrate. Again, you don't need a yoga mat. You can simply do these on carpeted flooring, put a blanket down. There's nothing fancy required, just simply a little bit of movement and breath. Right? So you're going to come back to that diaphragmatic breath we just talked about in the last video. So breathing in and out through the nose, feeling that connection. Right? And then we're going to simply move into tabletop pose. So you'll come to hands and knees. And we talk about table being you're stacking your wrists under your shoulders, your knees under your hips. And then we're going to start to gently move with the breath through cat-cow. So we're going to inhale, tip your pelvis forward, shine your heart forward, chin draws up. And as you breathe out, you round the spine in cow pose. Cat pose. And then you'll inhale, tip the pelvis forward, slowly make your way into cow pose. And you just start to move back and forth between the two. Now the key being that you slow it down enough so you're moving just at that pace with your breath. So we slow down the movement enough. It becomes very meditative. Right? When the mind is focusing on that breath movement connection, it's harder for the mind to jump ahead, make to-do lists, or worry. You start to really get settled in that present moment. And that's why we talk a lot about like vinyasa classes or breath movement connections. It's like meditation in motion. So again, stay here longer if you need that. Right? Otherwise, come back to tabletop. Bring your big toes together. Take your heels wide. Settle your hips back for child's pose. And if it's comfortable to rest your forehead on the floor, you have that option. Otherwise, you can stack your fists on top of each other, give some support for your neck, and pause here. So you pause in this pose, but you keep connected to that diaphragmatic breath. And child's pose is a fabulous pose when you're feeling anxious, worried, nauseous, disoriented, all the things. To just settle into this pose, to pause, to rest. And then we're going to adjust this pose ever so slightly. We're going to take your arms out and then walk them to the right. Your left hand can stack on top of the right. You shift the hips back. Breathe into that left side of the body. And then we'll slowly walk the hands over to the left. Now the right hand stacks on top. And if you've had any knee issues and this position is not comfortable for your knees, you can take small pillows or blankets and just give yourself some support, kind of wedge them in between your hamstrings and calves so that the compression on the knee isn't as deep. And then you can settle in here. Drop into that diaphragmatic breath. And then we'll come back up. And then again, find a comfortable seat. So again, I'm just going to sit on a pillow. Right? You can sit how you're comfortable. And we're going to do another breath exercise. So this one is a little bit more for that parasympathetic nervous system, right? So if you think of your nervous system, the sympathetic nervous system is kind of the accelerator, right? That puts you in that fight or flight mode. It gets your blood pumping, your heart racing, it gets you ready to go, right? And we need that sometimes. But the parasympathetic nervous system is more like your brake, right? You're gonna tap on that brake. It's called the rest and reset nervous system, right? So if we're always living with the gas down, we're gonna burn out eventually, right? If we're always in that fight or flight, eventually you're gonna burn down. And this time when we're feeling the height, the intensity of all that's going on, we can tend to kind of lean more towards that fight or flight system, right? So to practice a little bit throughout your day and getting into hitting those brakes, getting into that rest and reset nervous system, right? This is an excellent breath, even if you take just a minute or two throughout the day and you integrate it. And for me, with all 6 of us home all day, these days, that's been really helpful for me. I love to have some breath work or meditation in the morning before we get our day going, but ultimately, like, it's throughout the day I need it. So after the kids are starting to get restless, feeling overwhelmed themselves, sometimes for me it's just finding a little timeout space for mom and doing this 4x6 breath. Right, it doesn't take long, and it just almost instantly, like, it's become so familiar that it almost instantly just puts me at ease. Right, so basically all you do is you're gonna sit again in a chair wherever you are comfortable, and we're gonna simply inhale for a count of 4 and exhale for a count of 6. And we'll continue to repeat that. And you can even, if it's new to you, you can even tap your fingers if you need to. Sometimes that's how I'll teach kids, is we would inhale. If you watch my left hand, we would inhale for a count of 4. And then watch my right hand as you exhale for a count of 6. So that longer exhalation helps kind of get you into that sympathetic nervous system and helps calm you a little quicker. Right? The exhale is the calming part of the breath. So by making that longer than the inhale, that gets you into that response quicker. So that's another great one to teach your kids, right? Especially older kids, they can pick up onto that a little quicker. And I like the tapping of the fingers, because sometimes the kids, to have like a little bit of movement to go with it, helps them to still their body if they can at least move their fingers initially. But that's a nice one to give them too, especially if your kiddos have been dealing with some anxiety, stress. They have all of their own things as well. So that's good for all of us. So I hope these have been helpful, and we'll see you again tomorrow. So go in peace.